welcome back to Coteries of New York. Last time? I don't really remember what happened last time. Now we're going to rest and start up the next day. And, so much for my plans. I guess Kadir wants something. Kadir al-Azmai, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sure I'm butchering it. The sheriff of New York City is knocking at the door to your haven. The sight comes as more than a little shock. If he had business with you, you'd either expect him to see him already inside. What? Or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. You haven't really had time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Langley's apartment through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on this shelf, obviously meant to impress the guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner aside from an aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirit. I don't believe that's a real word. I don't know, maybe if it is, comment down below with like a link to dictionary.com or something. It's gonna be real hard to convince me that's real. Like, you would need direct references from fucking professors. Even then, I still probably wouldn't. Next to all of this garbage poetry. We can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. Yeah, sorry. Sudden air bubble. Kind of place self-professed hermits entomb themselves in to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he made. There we go. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight-or-flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Apparently you fail miserably at this. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything has changed forever. Should that have been was changed? Waking up in hell with a body next to you, spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure what's gonna happen next. That endless car ride, 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty crowd, that blade. A rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executioner who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's read your emotions from yours. Weirdly phrased. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice. He's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point, then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I realized over the years. In a large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhered to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see. But that, obviously, remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla. incompatible with the methods I used to operate. And so I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, and maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like a Christie novel detective, outwardly assisted by everyone, but constantly lied to about everyone's pasts and motivations, even when my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice. A voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than who done it or how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, such as conspiracies between two unrelated actors that depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall, a boss serving their employee, a rebel serving the tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. Okay, I've referenced this one a lot. Finally, time to explain it. Blood bond, a mystically enforced relationship between a vampire and another, mortal or kindred. Drinking the blood of a vampire directly from the vein 3 times creates an intense loyalty in the drinker, resembling infatuation or obsession. The bond loses its grip with time, but is reinforced by repeated drinks from the donor vampire. The losing its grip thing, kind of. The way it works is, at least the way it's worked in the editions I've played, I don't know about 5th, is it takes a number of months equal to, I think it's 12 minus your willpower, your maximum willpower. So if you have the highest willpower possible of 10, it takes 2 months, or it's equal to 11 months minus willpower. The point is it takes a long fucking time. And then you're given a roll to see if it drops down 1 stage. It's not something that you're gonna do very often, and the roll is very hard. If you fail it, you gotta wait another number of months equal to yada yada. So, you want to avoid blood bonds. One of the main reasons it sucks to be a Tremere. That and because everyone hates you. But everyone hates you anyway because you're a vampire. Who was Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? You're surrounded by unclear motivations you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me, and it should unnerve you as well. You unnerve me! It is you who unnerves me. You've made one hell of a first impression. Finally, you managed to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So, you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to fulfill my obligations better. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you're accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of the New York City community, and as long as you're a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all! Who is he talking about? This is about Sophie? Kadir shakes his head. That actually surprises me. Sophie's fine. She's plotting something big. I know it and she knows it. And she knows I know it, but she's treading carefully, as she should. No, it's not a major player. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Huh. Jessica Lowell, the woman who made the last few years of your life heaven and the last few weeks a living hell. Since she took pretty much everyone you knew with her after the split, you thought the transition to this life would be painless. No baggage at all. Have you thought wrong? You look up at Kadir, expecting answers. There are some unfortunate rumors that you've committed suicide after a messy breakup. So apparently, Miss Jessica here is desperately mobilizing everyone she knows to look for you. Turns out she's contacted a lot of people who might recognize you, including some in law enforcement agencies. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent. Which means she must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow, so that you can straighten the situation out, and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange... What? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished business, disappears never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, no contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I watch over. When neonates interact with kind they used to hold dear, their true nature is laid bare for everyone to see. Neonate, a young kindred recently embraced but more than a fledgling. The difference between fledgling and neonate is usually about 50 years, though it can actually be at any point after they've been quote-unquote released. Once their sire, or adoptive sire, decides that they are adult enough to function in vampiric society alone, they're released and officially declared a neonate. It could take anywhere from a week to 300 years. I mean, yeah, you could actually potentially skip over neonate if your sire is obsessive enough. Of course he's got business in being kind to you. Or he's making it clear he's got self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring those out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well, I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. Ew. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the doors on you. God damn it, you need to think it through. That is really creepy how that just pops in with that cord. For a long time you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, remembering how you once thought your world had ended with her leaving. Whining, sure, but it seems like it was... I actually don't know how to pronounce this. Prescient? Prescient? Whining? I don't know. I see that word all the time and I've never known how to pronounce it. And apparently we don't go into that yet. Yeah, let's bother, let's bother, I forgot his name. Agathon, that was it. Let's bother Agathon some more. I was thinking Acheron. One of these nights you'll have to buy something. One of these nights you'll have to buy something. You reflect as you ring the doorbell of the occult bookstore that serves as Agathon's haven. Perhaps something about auras or the tarot. Tarot is actually pretty interesting. The same sleep-deprived blonde woman you saw on your first visit opens the door for you. Each kindred has their own servants, and Agathon seems to go for the tired Wiccan mom type. Oh, it's you. Come in. The woman disappears into the back room, even as you close the door behind you. Lacking any better directions, you make your way up the stairs. At first you thought the chanting was part of the ritual soundtrack that plays in the shop even at night. As you reach the first floor, you realize that it's Agathon's voice. You come up just in time to see him standing in the middle of his ritual paraphernalia, with his wrist cut open over a wrought iron stand, holding a blood-red stone. As Agathon chants, blood drips from the wound in his wrist onto the stone. It looks as if it's absorbed into it. It's probably not a good idea to interrupt blood rituals, so you wait in silence as Agathon finishes. A couple of minutes later, he opens his eyes and smiles ruefully. I've done so many of these rituals. I hope it's not too off-putting for you. Agathon smears a bit of his own blood over the wound, As you see it close, it looks like he does it so often he barely pays attention to this reflex anymore. It's icky. Oh my, we're all vampires here. That we are. Kind of. It's actually somewhat debated whether or not Tremere are vampires. It's really complicated, and I'll fully admit, I don't understand it. Agathon picks the blood-red stone from its stand. This is a bloodstone. Could be useful. I don't remember what a bloodstone is. I don't hang out with Tremere very often. Or play them. He doesn't seem inclined to elaborate. Anyway, let's go. He pockets the stone and leads you back down the stairs and outside to his car. Yeah, sorry. Had to yawn, because I'm so super professional and all that. Soon you're on your way to Queens and Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. Oh, I haven't been here for a while. After parking the car, you follow Agathon on foot as he leads you deeper into the park. Coming to a New York park in the middle of the night might have worried you when you were alive, but now it's normal. If someone tries to mug you, it just means you'll have an opportunity to feed. God, I hope that happens, because we really need to. Agathon walks with purpose, as if he knows exactly where to go. You see the Unisphere, a giant metal sculpture of Earth, lit so park-goers can appreciate it at night. You're not sure how Agathon picks his ritual spot, but he must have a purpose in mind. The sculpture stands in the background, giving his preparations dramatic weight. Stand watch while I perform a ritual. It'll reveal whether the notes we seek are here. I'll lose control of the incantation if you fail to keep me free of distractions. It doesn't look like there are many people around. You settle for a boring half hour while Agathon mumbles and makes strange gestures, spilling drops of his blood at regular intervals. From the outside, the ritual is not particularly flashy. Agathon repeats a mantra under his breath and walks measured steps until he stops and turns around, walking back. It looks as if there's an invisible structure he must follow, unseen patterns and limits governing his movements. As choreographies go, it doesn't look particularly difficult to learn, but you suspect there are hidden dimensions of skill and understanding involved. A lone, drunken woman walks towards you. Hard to say what she's doing at the park. She's a little older, white, dressed like a suburban D4C. What's your friend doing? He's kinda hot. The woman's words are slurred by alcohol, but she seems to have decided that you are the evening's entertainment. Well, beggars can't be choosers. Hey, stop being weird and talk to me. The woman seems determined to walk past you, to Agathon. This looks like just the kind of interruption that he was worried about. And again! Another glitch with the disciplines. I do not get it. Anyway, nom nom. Here's hoping that we don't get so drunk we fuck up the ritual. Agathon is immersed deep in his ritual, so why not use the time you have constructively? You walk up to the woman from behind, grab her by the shoulders, and sink your fangs into her throat. The blood tinged with alcohol and horniness flows into your mouth as the woman moans from the sudden pleasure of the kiss. I need to sit down. Just as you lick the wound closed, the woman collapses onto the ground, swaying, trying to sit upright. Suddenly, you hear a scream of rage. Startled, you turn around just in time to see Agathon running at the woman on the ground, his expression contorted with hate. Did the woman make enough noise to interfere with the ritual? That doesn't explain why he's in such a rage. I'm just gonna back off. You step aside as Agathon leaps at the woman, sinking his fangs into her neck as she screams pitiably. The woman screams quiet down as Agathon drinks more and more. We should probably stop that. You pull Agathon away from the woman. He struggles, but he's clearly not used to physical scuffles. Agathon looks at you, wild-eyed, then suddenly snaps out of it. He stares at you in embarrassment and horror. Agathon just failed a frenzy check. You shouldn't have had to see that. I'm really sorry. This is something triggered a ward I have. We have to go now. There's no time to waste. Agathon starts running towards his car, and you do your best to follow. Usually, Agathon drives more carefully than most humans you know, but now something is different. He's speeding, honking at every car that gets in your way. You're driving towards the Bronx, and twice Agathon almost collides with another car. He's clearly not used to driving fast, but something is overriding his usual caution. You screech to a stop in front of a red-tile apartment building. Agathon jumps out of the car and starts running, leaving you to take the keys from the ignition and close the doors. Agathon disappeared up the steps, and you follow his agitated shouting. Abuela! It's me, Harvey! You come to the fifth floor landing after a run that would have left your mortal self winded to find Agathon banging on an apartment door and fiddling with his key ring. Yeah, it's kind of how to describe it. I've heard both that vampires can get physically tired, but have never actually seen any evidence to support that. Because I mean, the thing that makes you tired is a physical process that vampires, by definition, don't have. And I mean, it's not like their muscles tearing would really impair them. They don't really need those. In fact, some vampires straight up don't have them. Don't ask. A few of the neighbors poke their heads out of the door, but nobody intervenes. Agathon finds the right key and slams the door open, running inside. You follow, entering what looks like the home of an old Mexican lady. There are portraits on the mantelpiece and a crucifix on the wall. The smell of the apartment is musty with old age, and you detect a faint odor of vampiric blood. Sylvia! Sylvia, where are you? You come to the living room to find a body covered in a blanket in the corner of a sofa. The television is on, but the sound is off. It looks like a Spanish language channel. Agathon tears at the blanket, pulling it away in a panic. He reveals an old woman waking up in a bleary-eyed confusion. Harvey? Why are you barging in like this? Who's your friend? You're alive, abuela. Agathon hugs the old lady and then turns to you. You'll have to introduce yourself. I'll check the wards. Something triggered them and I'll have to see if they still work. Sylvia snuggles deeper into her blankets. This is vampire business, isn't it? Always when there is trouble, it's the vampires. You stare at her, startled. Clearly the masquerade isn't held in this household. I'm gonna go with, this one. Hi, I'm LawfulStupid. You're his grandmother, right? He's just worried. Why is he worried about me? He should be worried about himself, all that blood drinking. This is about the girl you came to visit. I can tell. Avi was never good at keeping secrets, so much like his mother. You hear Agathon rummaging around the small apartment, almost as if he's scratching something on the walls. He's always doing that, writing on the walls with blood, making runes. I tell him to cover them with the photos and the paintings, but he won't listen. I have to do it myself. That explains the faint smell of vampire blood in the apartment. Otherwise, how can I invite friends for tea? They'll ask questions if I have runes all over my walls. It doesn't look like a Christian home anymore. The girl who was here. What'd she talk about? She wanted to know what Harvey was like as a child. I told her he was an adorable child, always so dutiful. I have no idea what accent I'm really going for here. She was a vampire too, I expect. You're not a vampire too, are you? Surprised by the suggestion, Sylvia laughs uproariously, mirth convulsing her aged form. Oh no, please don't say things like that. I am an old woman. Laughing hurts. Agathon returns to the living room, still agitated. She wanted to send a message, but we don't let her find the notes first. She'll hurt her. He glances meaningfully at the old woman. No, she won't. She gave me a message for you, Harvey. Said to think very carefully whether your clan will really protect your loved ones. Agathon stares at Sylvia, stunned and confused. And the answer to that is, of course, no. They won't even give the pretense of that. She was here to tell me that. Maybe that's good. Doesn't sound like she wants to hurt you. She was a nice girl. I can tell. Oh, abuela. LawfulStupid, let's go. This is all we can do here. You say your goodbyes, and soon you're back outside, sitting in Agathon's car. I don't know why the scene didn't change, but okay. This was a catastrophe. You think Juno had been here? The wards trigger when a vampire enters the perimeter, so Juno was there just as I was doing the ritual in the park. I think my voice for it changed. I can't remember. I'll take you to your haven. Agathon starts the car and begins the drive towards Manhattan. He appears agitated, emotions coursing under his stoic face. Your grandmother's a very spirited woman. It's all I have left in my family. We came here from Mexico City when my parents were still alive. The kindred have always haunted my family. Every generation has its own tragedies. Agathon is gripping the steering wheel harder than he should, although he's back to his usual careful driving style. This guy is so me! Except for the Hispanic part. I'm amazingly pasty white. Wait, did I forget to read something there? No. Sorry this happened to your grandmother and you have to fear for her safety. This is what it's like for all kindred who have a mortal they love. Thing is, you don't want to lose your battle with the beast? Probably should keep hold of those relationships anyway, even when it hurts. That is actually a thing from New World of Darkness, where it's required. It's actually one of the things I don't like about it. I don't like many things about the New World of Darkness, except Werewolf. The Werewolf and Geist are really, really good. Agathon drops you off in front of your haven. The experience leaves you with disquieting thoughts. You met Agathon's grandmother in awkward circumstances, but he clearly loves her very much. You don't know enough about the world of the kindred to say whether that's normal or not. It's not. It seems to keep Agathon connected to the world in a way that feels alien for some of the other kindred you've met. Perhaps there's a lesson in that. That's a lesson we'll have to contemplate another time, though, because we've been out of time for a while. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, blah 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 blah, you know the drill. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Let's see if I can hit the right button to end the video this time.